So imagine this. You get a simple WhatsApp message about a water leak. What if you could take that one message and automatically turn it into a fully analyzed, tracked, and even visualized task on a smart dashboard? Well, today, we're not just going to talk about it. We're going to build that exact system, step by step, right here.
You know, for any operations team, this is the big question, right? Requests are just flooding in from everywhere. You've got emails, phone calls, text messages. It's just chaos. So how do you stop those critical issues from getting buried in all that noise and actually build a system that's, truly intelligent?
To make this all feel real, we're going to follow one single request on its entire journey. This right here is our hero message. There's a water leak from the ceiling of the second-floor bathroom, Building A. It's a simple, pretty urgent text that, as we're about to see, is the key to a much, much bigger story.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to build this thing out in 5 logical stages. First, we'll bring some order to all that chaos by laying a proper foundation. Then, we'll automate how we capture and analyze every single request. After that, we turn those requests into official work orders. Then, we build a central memory, a brain really, for all our data. And finally, we get to the real prize, making that huge shift to proactive maintenance.
Okay, section 1, from chaos to order. Now, before we write a single line of code or build any fancy automation, we need a solid plan, an architecture. This is all about setting up the 4 essential layers for a system that's actually going to work in the real world.
Now, what's really important here is how we're breaking this down into 4 distinct layers. You've got your reception layer, where all the messages come pouring in. Then the intelligent analysis layer, where an AI actually makes sense of it all. Next is the operations layer, where the work gets assigned and tracked. And finally, the analytics layer, where we learn from everything that happened. And here's the absolute crucial point. If you skip any of these layers, you don't have a real solution. You just have a cool tech demo.
So, with our foundation set, how do we actually handle that incoming flood of messages? Let's dive into stage 2, automated request capture and analysis. This is where we take all those chaotic messages, funnel them into one single orderly stream, and then teach our system to understand what people are really saying.
So to do this, we're going to use an automation platform like N8N. Think of it as a central hub that connects all our different apps and services. We set up what they call triggers, which are basically just little listeners waiting for something to happen. We'll have a trigger for WhatsApp, another one for emails, and even one that takes phone calls and uses a service to turn that speech into text. So no matter how our request comes in, it gets captured. And this right here, this is the first major win for the system. Every single request, whether it's an urgent phone call or a quick text, now goes into one single organized pathway. Nothing gets lost in a crowded inbox or a forgotten chat history ever again. We've created one single door for every single problem.
Okay, so once we've caught the raw message, what do we do with it? Well, we send it to our system's brain, the ChatGPT API. And just look at this transformation. On the left, you've got our simple human text message. On the right, the AI has analyzed it and spit out this perfectly structured data that a computer can actually understand. It tells us the type of work is plumbing, the priority is urgent, and it belongs to the Civil Works Department. It's not just text anymore, it's intelligence.
Now that we have this clean, structured data, we can finally do something useful with it. And that brings us to section 3, from request to work order. This is where we turn all that intelligence into a real, trackable task for our operations team. So, that structured data from the AI, it's used to automatically create a new record in our central database. As you can see right here, that vague text message has now become a formal work order. It has a unique ID, a clear type, a priority level, a status. It's official. It's trackable. The chaos is completely gone.
And the loop doesn't just stop there. The second that work order is created, the system is smart enough to identify the right technician for that specific job, and bam, it sends an instant notification, like a WhatsApp message or an SMS, directly to their phone with all the details they need. The right information gets to the right person instantly.
All right, now we're at a critical step, and honestly, it's one that's often overlooked. Section 4, building memory and data vision. This is where we create a single source of truth for every action that's taken, and this sets the stage for some really powerful high-level insights down the line.
So what's happening behind the scenes is that everything we've done so far feeds into this one central database. We have tables for the raw requests, the official work orders, our technicians, our spare parts inventory, and even our billing info. Every single update is recorded here, creating this complete historical memory of our entire operation. So, with this rich, live database in place, we're finally ready for that final layer. We connect a business intelligence tool, something like Microsoft's Power BI, which is designed specifically for data visualization, and we point it directly to this single source of truth. This is where our data finally gets to tell its story.
And that brings us to the ultimate payoff, the moment we've been building towards. In our final section, the shift to proactive maintenance. This is where we stop just fixing problems as they pop up, and we start using our data to predict and prevent them from ever happening in the first place.
And here's what that looks like in practice. This is the executive dashboard in Power BI. With just one glance, a manager can see exactly where the pressure points are. I mean, look at this. Plumbing issues are a huge challenge. But now they can start asking, why? Is it a specific building? Is it a certain type of fixture? Maybe it's an old piping system. The data gives you the clues.
But we can go so much deeper than that. The dashboard can track critical KPIs in real time. All of a sudden, we can answer the questions that really matter. Are we meeting our service level agreements? What's our actual response time for urgent issues? How many jobs are getting stopped just because we don't have the right spare parts in stock? These are the kinds of questions that drive smart business decisions.
This whole new level of visibility allows us to embrace something called proactive maintenance. So instead of just reacting to failures as they happen, we can use all that historical data we've collected to spot trends and perform preventative work before things break. We start solving the root cause, not just the symptom. And this brings us right back to our hero request. On the dashboard, a manager notices something fascinating. That single water leak from Building A? Well, it wasn't a one-off incident. The data reveals a recurring pattern of similar leaks, all in the exact same location. This points to a systemic issue that needs a permanent fix, not just another patch job.
This is the strategic shift, and it's perfectly summarized here by this operations director. We've moved from just fighting fires to using data to prevent them. The system empowers the entire organization to become predictive and strategic instead of just staying purely reactive all the time.
So as we wrap up, this leaves us with a really powerful question to think about for any operation. What if today's failures aren't just problems that you need to solve, but are actually your roadmap for tomorrow's success?